Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Politics with Sherry Jacobus. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're not yet a subscriber, I hope you will be soon. I'm still in New York. I'm trying to do some lighting thing here in my hotel room. So bear with me. That's why we're holding this up. So yesterday we were talking about Trump being the loser. He loses, he loses, he loses, he loses in court. So here's what happened. He also lost, they tossed out, I guess, his defamation lawsuit against, was it the Guardian? He was suing somebody, some press, yeah. And of course, because most of what he puts out there is just garbage, and so it gets dismissed. So he loses again, and I think that's why he then in turn tries to get some kind of revenge. So he launches. He has the Department of War launched this big investigation against Senator Mark Kelly, who is a war hero. He is an astronaut. He was served in the military. And so he was one of the senators who are veterans, one of the lawmakers who are veterans that did the video telling our enlisted men and women, our military personnel, that they do not have to obey illegal, unlawful orders. Okay. They specified that. So Trump is now investigating them, saying this is sedition. And they're pretending that the illegal part wasn't in there. So there's that. Now we have also in retaliation for Cong.Vindman, he's a new congressman, as you recall, and he's been a target of Team Trump forever. He says on Twitter, he says, last week I demanded the truth about Donald Trump's call with Mohammed bin Salman regarding the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. Now I'm being targeted in a sham investigation by DOW, Department of War, that silly name that they gave our Department of Defense, for calling this administration out on their corruption. He says, I'm not backing down. We will get to the truth. Okay. So that is exactly what's happening. And he also says, I'm ready to come back on active duty to defend Captain Mark Kelly as an Army JAG. And that's who Cong.Vindman was. That's how he served in the military. So we have Trump just lashing out at anybody, and he has his goons. Remember, we talk about why he picks these people to be on his cabinet, because actual decent human beings who are not corrupt and who have experience and who are competent and at the top of their field, who should be in the cabinet, they won't serve. But the more importantly is Trump likes to find people who are already corrupt. And because once he knows that they are corrupt, that they are criminals, well, that means they'll break the law for him. They will do anything for him. He knows what Pete Hegseth is. He knows that Pete Hegseth is not right in the head, who is a loser, who's and who's gotten in trouble, rough on women and the drinking, and he's been accused of is it assault, by women. So he already knows that Pete Hegseth is a bad guy. Okay, he's a bad guy. He knows that Pam Bondi is corrupt because she was corrupt for him in Florida. He knows that RFK Jr. is just a wild, mentally ill, evil person. But he's got that Kennedy name. And so Trump is having fun with that. He's having fun with that. He knows that this is the Kennedy that no one really wants to talk about, the weirdo. So that's what we're dealing with there. And we see this over and over and over again. He had these acting cabinet members in his first administration because they wouldn't get past confirmation. And yet now, we have Democrats that voted to confirm some of these monsters. So now I think, we know Trump is always going to do this, but what happens? He loses in court. He gets embarrassed. Okay. He gets embarrassed. And then he lashes out, launching these investigations because Vindman's getting a little bit too close for comfort on the live bonesaw murder of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. And here, the person who authorized this, the murder, the slaughter. We hear that remember, Khashoggi was sawed off, his limbs, his bones were sawed while he was conscious and alive. They didn't kill him first. Okay. So people have suggested that perhaps Jared Kushner, something happened here. There was something going on here. Kushner is the one that gave him the go-ahead, told him how to do it. Kushner then gets $2 billion from the people who did this. Everybody surrounding Trump is corrupt. Okay? We are now well past an era where you can say, well, we didn't know, or we thought we could be the guardrails. We thought we could serve and make it be less bad. That might have worked for some in the first administration. Some, not all, who make the claim. Again, I don't believe anybody who was a political operative who went and worked in that administration got a job working for Trump and then thought that and said that they were surprised. They didn't know how he really was. And then when they saw the light, no, we've had that discussion. These are people who, again, got the jobs, lined their own pockets, got what they needed out of it, pretended that they didn't know. And then when, they ran out of road, they left their jobs, left the administration, and then go get on TV and get book deals. If these were not people who were on TV with book deals, who were pundits beforehand, and then all of a sudden, when they see the light, they were just fooled. The real funny ones are the ones that are rich corporate lawyers who just happen to flip-flop several times about Trump, depending on when, what their personal fortunes were. You fail to get 2 jobs, when the big money bag people who bring your wife in, when they switch from one candidate to another. Okay, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. This is what happens. So we also did have the generals, though, and I do believe that someone like John Kelly and some of the big military guys that were there in the first administration, they didn't really need it. They didn't need it because they had already made their big careers. I do think most of them did think that they could be there as the guardrails. Those days are gone. Everybody, to a person who surrounds Trump and his cabinet and his staff, and those that are making it at Fox News, because you don't get on Fox News. You don't get a paid contract with Fox News. You're not substituting for Hannity at Fox News, right? Unless you're kissing Donald Trump's ginormous rear. These people have all sold out. They all know what Trump is. Okay? This is where we can now pretty much draw the line, say, this is an evil and dishonest person. Okay, we know where that line is drawn now. Only it's not doing it just to be judgmental prigs. It now has to do with our survival as a nation and the survival of our democracy. So I hope we're getting better and not making excuses for these people. If you are on Fox News defending Trump, if you are working for Fox News, and if you are working, even if you're working at CNN and you're defending Trump, Scott Jennings, these people are evil. They are very, very, very well aware of what Trump is. They know what Trump is as much as you or I do. They are evil. And we see this now with Trump launching investigations against military veterans who took an oath to protect and defend this country and the Constitution. And they're still doing it even if they're retired. And we see the vengeance of Trump, just like he did with Comey and Tish James. He's now doing it with Vindman. He's doing it with Mark Kelly. We see this over and over and over again. If you cross him, he will try to ruin you. I found this out over 10 years ago. Only now he has the power to do it. So he figured out from his first administration, well, gosh, not everybody was on board with what I wanted because they were not immoral, unpatriotic criminals and traitors. So what he does now is he just gets immoral, unpatriotic criminal traitors in these positions to do his bidding. Pete Hegseth knows that this is wrong, evil, unpatriotic, probably criminal, abusing his position. Pam Bondi is well aware of what she's doing. You can see it in her face. But she's so deep in, she's thinking, God, we better keep this guy out of prison because he better be able to pardon me. That's all these people want is a pardon. Right now, the Trump cabinet and the people immediately surrounding him have one thing on their minds: making sure they get a pardon. In order to get that pardon, they must do every single thing Trump tells them to do. Why? Because they're already in so deep. If he picks the people already who he knows he can get to commit crimes for him and be traitors for him and to sell out their country for him, And then once they get in there, he gets them to do little things. Well, he starts drawing them in more. So basically, their entire job now is criminal and treason, being criminals and traitors. And they know it. So he has to get them to do more and more and more. Why? Because they have needed a pardon from him since day one, the first time he got them to do these things. And he knows they need it. And they also know that they have to do everything he tells them to do, or he will withhold the pardon. Keep that in mind. It is about pardons. So he is forcing Pete Hegseth, of course, probably didn't have to really force him, to do these sham investigations of anybody getting in his way. Senator Mark Kelly, a veteran, and other veterans telling our military that you do not have to obey illegal orders. Illegal, illegal, illegal. Trump, Fox News, anybody speaking for Trump, they never mentioned the word illegal. That the video that these veterans who are now lawmakers made specified illegal orders. You do not have to obey illegal orders. They are lying when they claim that these veterans who are lawmakers said you do not have to obey orders from Trump, from your commander in chief. That was never said. That was never said. I don't know how many MAGA actually believe that. But again, we're going to nibble around those edges. That closer elections are won or lost in the margins. Always keep that in mind, particularly when you're having a bad day and you don't feel like going out there and fighting this stuff. Again, if every single one of us can change the hearts and mind of one MAGA, we win. We win. Close elections are won or lost in the margins, and all of you get to play a role in that. In fact, we have to, because there ain't anybody else out there. There's no John Kelly. There's no generals that are there as guardrails. It's all criminals and traitors, and it's up to us to change it. So anyway, I don't know if I'll be doing this tomorrow from New York because I'll be driving, but I'll try and get something in, and certainly over the holiday because there's a lot going on. Anyway, thanks for tuning in.